everybody in the Suzuki community. It's Myron, and this is the last thing we have to do before Lily and Logan show up here in a few hours for the big reveal. Today we're going to be putting on the rear Dominator bumper, a Serenity tire carrier, and the ends. We're going to show you each step. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to have Matt cut off these tabs that are on. Well, I just pulled that one off. Matt almost cut that one off already. So Matt's going to come over and cut off the hook. Matt's going to come over and cut off the last tab. We need to have the frame really flat on the bottom for us to install the bumper. The next thing we're going to do on this particular two-door, the early models, they've got a support in the middle. I take care of that with the support beam. We're going to get that positioned, then we're going to make sure we can get the bolts in the bottom of the frame, and then Matt's going to weld them on the ends here to make that really permanent. So I'm going to let Matt get in here and start working on this. Oh, I almost forgot. Please subscribe to our channel. It's really helping us get the word out there that Zuk's Off-Road is the place that's going to answer your questions and make some really great stuff for your cars. So let me get Matt in here. Thank you very much for watching. Okay, so here's our support piece. Whether this has got the center support or not, the support piece is going to look like this. But if you have a 96, 7, 8, even a 99 two-door tracker Suzuki Sidekick, it's going to be very similar. It just may only have 2 bolts across the frame, not 3. But today we have 3. So I'm going to set it up here, and you're going to get a big bag of hardware with all of this stuff. Now what I want to demonstrate here is that I'm going to bolt this in, and before I weld it, I'm going to make sure that I can put the bumper on and get all my holes lined up, because I give you a little bit of play where you can go towards the driver or towards the passenger, not much, but an 1/8 of an inch one way, the wrong way is a 1/4 inch on the other side, and I'd like to have the wings on the side to look good, like even. So if you just pay attention to me right now, you'll see what I'm doing. This is going to happen sometimes, folks. I had a little problem putting this on because I do build this on an actual jig that was a car at one time, but things happen, twisted frames, so I made this to do something a little weird. I made it so because I need this hole to move up a little bit, but I don't have room, so I just go like this, and that moved my piece where I can now put it in a lot easier. I finally got that bolted in. Now this one gave me a little bit of trouble. You never know, someone might have backed into something, twisted the frame a little bit. Ultimately, I ended up drilling a little hole here, and I also hit it on the ground to bend it just to make it straight on these lines. And I do give you a little bit of room just for little mistakes. It reminds me of when I was first making tube doors. People would say they didn't fit, and then I'd say, send me a picture of your Samurai, and it was like total body damage, and the A pillar and B pillar were separated by inches, so that's why I had to put on hinges. And a friend of mine actually told me that he saw my Suzuki S doors on a Jeep. Somehow he got them to fit. Pretty cool, huh? Anyways, we're ready to trial fit now, the big part. Don't pinch your fingers on this. Once you get it up this high, grab it from down below. Get your fingers out of there. Alright, now what we're going to do is line up the top 3 holes. We're going to get these 3 bolts started up top here. All of my bumpers have receivers, and for the last 5 years I've been putting safety chain catches on them. There are 2 little hoops right here for your safety chains. These are reinforced class 3, so they're pretty stout. I'm not going to tighten these bolts, I'm just going to get them started and then get the 4 frame bolts in on the bottom. Now, this particular car has a body lift, and that's what separates me from a lot of the other companies. I have the ability to have a tail that races up and down to cover that body lift, which closes that gap underneath the light. And of course, all of these cars, when you body lift them, you're going to have this big gap back here. But my tire carrier covers that gap up real nice. Make sure they get started good, but not tight, so I can move it around a little bit. Alright, we've got metric bolts, lock washers, big washers. We're going to put those in the hole of the frame. Get all 4 of those started. Sometimes you have to use a punch to move it around, and that's what I'm going to have to get right now is a punch to line up these holes. Alright, one more bolt to go, then we bolt this bad boy on. Tighten the top bolts. Alright, now we're going to do the tire carrier. One of my favorite sayings is that Hummer and I do ball bearings on our tire carriers. Put a little grease on these before you put them in. Just need a little bit of grease. I leave these bearings open on the bottom. Gosh, I've done, I don't know, 400 or 500 tire carriers. And I had a nice gentleman call me once and he said, I don't like your tire carrier because the bearings, they don't have a seal on the bottom and water can get in there. And I said, sir, that's so that water can come out. If I put a seal in there, they're going to get all messed up. But he didn't like that idea, so I said ship it back and I'll send you a label and we'll get you what you want. Alright, we provide a lock nut, aircraft nut, nylock, whatever you want to call it, for the bottom, and we're going to get this pretty tight. The way I build these is this bearing's only going to operate 1,000,000 times this way, so we're not going for a normal wheel bearing. We're going to go pretty tight. Those nylocks get a little tight to put on because you got to go through the nylon. And once you get that, then it goes pretty good. But they don't loosen up. They're called aircraft nuts. You don't want your nuts falling off on an airplane. I do something for everyone's tire carrier. It's a little old-fashioned, but it works. It works, in my opinion, better than anything else. There's a lot of fancy locks out there. The problem is if they get knocked by a tree or a twig or someone bumps it, they could come unlocked. So I use a T-handle thread, and it's worked really good for me for a really long time. I'm going to get that nut locked on there real good. When they're new, it's a good idea to get a little piece of PVC pipe, keep it in the car, because they can get a little tight, especially when you got a big tire. And this one has a big tire. Now, one thing I didn't show you is all the hardware individually, but we make a weather cap here. So this little weather cap is going to go right over there, takes sometimes a little pound in. It's got a set screw in the hardware bag, and that finishes it off real nice. All right, roll that puppy in here. All right, what I do for trackers and sidekicks, because the license plate is on the door, I typically lower the tire carrier a little bit lower and move it over a little bit more so that you have more view in the window. They're always going to come with the correct lug nut thread. Thank you. So the lug nuts on your spare tire are going to match your car. Now I make my tire carrier with two patterns. Toyota's, as you know, axles are different lug nut. It's 12 by 1.5, not 12 by 125. And so if you have a Toyota axle, you tell me and I build you a Toyota tire carrier with Toyota threads. Now we're going to lock those in better in just a minute. And we're going to finish off by putting the tails on, because we're going to torque these to spec. Now if you didn't know this, we'll show you a picture. I have another class 3 receiver right here that's already drilled. So if you're handy, you can build something with a basket, you can build a vise, you can build a bike rack. Slide it right in there, put the pin in, this will carry it, no problem. So we're going to wrap this up here by putting the tails on. Alright, we're back. And so we showed you a picture in the description of how I want these set up. And I'm going to take this one all apart now because we did this for the picture only. This is the driver's side, so you get an idea how to do this. But I like to reverse two of the bolts, heads in and two heads out. And these are 3/8/16. You can use a 14mm wrench on these or 9/16. But they have slots in them, as you can see. And this is designed to close the gap between the tail light and the body, because this one's really lifted. Alright, we start with the bolt and a washer, and we're going to make it easy. We're going to come up to that hard hole to do right there. I'm not going to torture you folks with tightening all these bolts. You can see what it's going to do, how nice it's going to look and close the gap. From the back view, the tire carrier is going to close the gap under the door, and everything's going to work really nice. So in just a few minutes, we're going to have the reveal on the end of this video. Again, thank you for watching. A little out of breath today. Been working a lot of extra shifts to try to get up all these bumpers out of here. So thank you very much for watching, but we're not done yet. Next time we're going to show you here the reveal and introduce you to Logan and Lily. Thanks for watching.